Hello, everybody. Here with a quick review of today's Beyond the Gates episode, August 18th, 2025. A Monday episode where I unfortunately must critique the writing once again. We will start with the Leslie storyline, and I still agree with what I said last week. I like that the story is taking this direction. I think it makes Leslie and maybe even Eva more interesting. They were kind of lagging there for a while with no real direction, at least for Leslie. Eva still has a direction with Tomas, but I don't like that either. So that kind of sucks too. This whole concept of Leslie being Barbara's daughter, I like it overall. It's gonna give Leslie and maybe Eva some money. They go from have nots to maybe Leslie can mess with the Duprees even more. I'm all for that. But getting from point A to point B has been so weak with this Peaches story. And today was odd writing choices again. Like, we learned that not only has Eva never met Peaches, but didn't even know Peaches existed, that Leslie was raised by someone named Peaches as her adoptive mother. They met for the first time today, and I was kind of just left scratching my head. This show loves to have the muddiest of timelines, and it's a soap opera. A lot of them do. But this whole thing of Eva not knowing Peaches either just makes the story seem even more out of the blue. Here comes this lady who raised Leslie. Suddenly she realizes that she's Barbara's daughter. Barbara was in the articulate. She has a fortune. Leslie's going to inherit the fortune. It's very plot driven and not very good. But still, overall, the bigger picture, I like that Leslie's getting an inheritance. I like that she's related to Barbara. I like that means we're about to get some good scenes with Leslie and Anita. I also wonder if Peaches is actually dying, though, because Peaches going to the bar after to have a drink, flirt with Ted, like mother, like daughter, which apparently in a couple episodes ago we learned that once upon a time Leslie stole one of Peaches' men. So here's Peaches flirting with who Leslie thinks is her man. Peaches doesn't know that, though. But regardless, I wonder what Peaches' real motive is. If there is a motive for her to want to be in on getting some of this money too, or if she's actually dying. I'm kind of hoping she's a short-term character because, like I said last week, I don't know why they cast someone who looks as old as Leslie and just gave her an old wig when they could have just casted someone older, but they didn't. So here we are. As I mentioned, Ted was in the episode today talking with Doug about how Nicole's filing for divorce. Later, Ted and Nicole ran into each other. I like Nicole's shade towards Ted when Nicole saw him sitting at the bar with Peaches, saying that she's glad he's moving on. I'm glad that Nicole does still feel some kind of way about Ted because he did make a big mistake and he's done a really bad job of trying to win her back. So I don't know if this is what the show's going for, but at this point I have no care to want to see Ted and Nicole get back together. So I just don't know where that leaves Ted as a character, but I have no interest in seeing them get back together. The most interesting thing today was the Doug stuff. I like how far that storyline has come. It really has come from Vanessa and even Doug being caricatures with their addictions, Doug with the gambling, Vanessa with sex. And now it's one of the more layered storylines. I like that Doug went to Jacob today. Stupidly talking in the bar was probably a bad idea. But I like that Doug told Jacob that he has a friend having a problem with Joey. Says that he has intel on Joey that would interest Jacob. Jacob's talking about how maybe Doug's friend should just become an informant. But then Doug gave Jacob the information that Joey ordered his friend to commit murder. Unfortunately for Doug, that's when Vanessa interrupted the conversation because they're there having this conversation in the bar. And Vanessa interrupts, wants to know what's going on, because of course Vanessa probably is worried that Doug is talking about Joey to a police officer. Vanessa broke that situation up. Jacob eventually leaves, but I'm sure that's not going to be the last of Jacob wanting this information from Doug. We know that Mr. Jacob is a man of the law, by the books. He's definitely going to want to circle back to this with Doug at some point. Vanessa was hoping that Doug was not discussing Joey with Jacob. And it was good of Vanessa to call out Doug, saying that Doug drugged them into this mess with Joey in the first place because of his gambling problem and the debt, and that Vanessa's the one that saved his ass. And Vanessa tells Doug that she's the one holding the cards, and so if he doesn't stop this whole trying to go against Joey, he can kiss his lifestyle goodbye. It's a good threat, seeing as Doug just quit his job. It puts more problems there between Vanessa and Doug. Doug is the big issue into why they are in bed with Joey, but not completely, because Vanessa has literally been in bed with Joey. So it's not all Doug's fault, but it is Doug's fault that Joey got control over both of them for a second. Vanessa played her cards right and helped, get involved with the shady business, the shady dealings. But it's still my favorite story going on the show right now. Every time it's on, it's the most interesting thing to me. I don't know what their out is, though, because I don't know how Doug and Randy continue to try and bring down Joey without one of them getting killed or something, if the show is going to keep Joey around as one of the main villains, which I suspect happening. So I don't know when we get the out in the story. I do hope it's not drug out too long, because eventually I will get sick of this story too, because right now it's strong, but the cracks are starting to show in the story that it could get a little redundant. And then we had the Derek and Ashley nonsense. I said on Friday's episode that I will no longer watch Derek and Ashley scenes, and thus I fast forwarded their 3-minute scene in the middle of the episode. There is no reason Derek and Ashley should be getting a 3-minute scene in the middle of the episode. I did watch a little bit of Ashley with Shanice. I did try and watch Shanice and Jacob talking to Derek in his hospital room, but I still didn't care. I have to rant about this one more time, because the writing for this it's atrocious. They started this show by writing Ashley and Derek as this couple that clearly wasn't going to work out. They wrote Ashley not only being the person being the asshole in the relationship, but she was also clearly interested in Andre a little bit from jump. And then they break up. So clearly the writing from jump, we had no reason to want to see Derek and Ashley together. They were boring as hell when they were together, and it seemed like it was on purpose. And yet here we are, about to be 6 months into the show, and they're still shoving these two down our throat, where Ashley wants to feel sorry for Derek because he might have to be in a wheelchair for a long time. It's so bad. It's impossible to care, because the way they wrote the story in the first place. No chemistry, no reason to root for them as a couple. So what's the point of rehashing this now? I do think we're probably going to get Shanice as his physical therapist. Maybe that brings them closer. But the way they've been writing it, I don't know if I still want to see that. So I will watch Shanice and Derek's scenes, but if Ashley's involved with them, I will not be watching. So just bad writing right there for sure. As for Nicole and Madison, I didn't really pay attention to them either. I think Madison was having doubts because she loves Chelsea so much. It was interesting to see those two talk as colleagues, and Madison talking about a patient. I wish I would have followed those scenes a little more, but I was already so annoyed with the Ashley and Derek stuff that sometimes I fast forwarded a little too much in this episode. But yeah, the Doug and Vanessa and Jacob stuff was good. The Leslie stuff was kind of bad writing to get us from point A to point B, but I like it overall. Um, the Ashley Derek situation is a hard no for me.